Since the very beginning of the Mario Kart series, Rainbow Road has become the staple final course that's raced in the Special Cup, with every single Mario Kart game having its own unique rendition of the track. Unless you're one of the arcade games, Arcade GP with Rainbow Coaster and Rainbow Downhill. While GPDX didn't have it anywhere. The sequel not having it is one thing, but Rainbow Downhill has got to be the worst track name I've ever heard in my entire life. Felt like it just wanted to be different for the sake of it. Even other games outside of Mario Kart have referenced Rainbow Road before. F-Zero X's Phantom Road track was a blatant nod to it, while Super Mario Galaxy 2's Rolling Coaster Galaxy was a giant starball level with the majority of the terrain being a Rainbow Road, just to name a couple. Needless to say, the track name has gotten more iconic over the years, to the point where the variants of it continue to be people's favorite tracks of all time. So when Rainbow Road was being blatantly teased in Mario Kart World's marketing material, as well as the map icon being accidentally leaked shortly after the Switch 2 Direct, so naturally, many people, myself included, were eager to see how this Rainbow Road would hold up compared to previous iterations. Now that it's been a few days and I've raced on the track a good handful of times to try to wash away some, lingering recency bias, I want to figure out how good is Mario Kart World's Rainbow Road to be. Spoilers, by the way, because I will be showing footage of the entire track from this point onward. Please like and subscribe, by the way. So before I properly break this track down, I want to bring up the categories I believe are essential to Rainbow Road and what makes that track good. From most important to least important, we have, does it feel fun to race on, how appealing are the visuals, quality of the soundtrack, competitive variety, and how high is the difficulty. This is just my personal ordering for how I value Rainbow Road, to be clear. If yours is different, that's totally valid. The fun factor was definitely there for me. The lead up to this track was probably the best the Mario Kart series has seen so far. After beating all the main cups, a cutscene shows the Special Cup trophy soaring over the world of Mario Kart, where we see reactions from Luigi, some cows, and other various racers around the Peach Stadium area. Once Peach Stadium is fully raced on in the Special Cup, the path to Rainbow Road opens, shooting everyone up in a gradual ascent to the heavens, quickly flashing the screen white before the start of the track is laid out before you. I know a lot of people are still quite conflicted with how the Grand Prix system works in this game, as with every track being interconnected in this world, only being able to race one proper lap on certain tracks can feel off in a sense when no other Mario Kart game was like this. Some folks just want the traditional 3-lap experience. I'm like that too at times, depending on how much I like the track. However, I feel like the way this game incorporated the track transitional period to Rainbow Road was the best use of the system in the entire game. Really smart decision to put the ascension to it right in the middle of the world map too. It really made Rainbow Road feel more like a spectacle to me than any other previous ones. Since the previous ones were all in standard Grand Prix formats, you would just get auto-teleported to the start of the track when the time came. Granted, in most situations after your first Grand Prix Special Cup is done in World, races on Rainbow Road from then on will just start you at the line like the rest, which isn't really even anything to criticize in my opinion, because it not only makes a first playthrough of Special Cup more special, the folks who don't like the transitional periods in any way can still enjoy the track in a more traditional fashion. The actual track itself packs in quite a bit of tight turns, ramps, boost pads, and rainbow thwomp obstacles to keep the race engaging. One thing that did bother me a bit is the lack of wall riding and rail grinding sessions. Both of those mechanics played roles in almost every new and retro track in this game, so I was a little bummed to see this Rainbow Road was noticeably lacking in that area. I was still locked in during my first race though. Maybe I'm just terrible, but I swear the CPUs in this game feel harder than they did in any previous game. It's like they permanently have 20 coin speed on, and if I can't get a red shell or a green shell snipe, the odds are in their favor. Very fun track. I give it a 9 out of 10 in that aspect. As for the visuals, it's easily got the best in the series. The odds lean pretty heavy in its favor for this category though, since this game is on the newest Nintendo console on a game that supports HDR, 4K, and up to 120 FPS depending on the equipment you have. Unfortunately for you guys, you're watching 1080p 60 footage because I'm a loser and I don't have the facilities to show off the game in that way. Hopefully that'll change soon, but we'll see. This game's Rainbow Road took a page out of Mario Kart 7's Rainbow Road, where there's 4 different sections of the course, 2 of which aren't directly on a rainbow-colored road. Mario Kart 7 had sections on the moon and Saturn's rings, while Mario Kart World had a water section with crystal-colored water similar to the water in Starview Peak, and a space station satellite section with the entire structure referencing the Game & Watch handheld system. As we can see by the cream and red color scheme it's got going on, and text on the side that reads GW80, which is a nod to the system in question, releasing in the year 1980. Oh, it came out on my birthday, that's pretty funny. Even though the start of this section starts off on a more standard look road before transitioning back to a full rainbow, there's still streaks of rainbow on the edges of the regular road, and then when it transitions to the Thwomp section, not only does it feel like a reference to the SNES Rainbow Road, but it also reminds me a lot of that one Thwomp section in, Bowser's Galaxy Generator, like the very last Bowser Galaxy in Super Mario Galaxy, where there's Thwomps and bonsai bills coming toward you. That probably wasn't intentional, but those are the vibes I got. The transitions to each section look incredible as well. The way the crystal rainbow shards hang off parts of the track, releasing rainbow dust, the wind streaks on the wings of every vehicle are rainbow when you're in midair, and you can see bits of the rest of the world below you, which adds more to the immersive experience this track offers. Other rainbow roads like Double Dashes had a city in view below the track, but it was just a random city at night with no connection to Rainbow Road, unless you want to say it's Mushroom City, but at that point you might have to acknowledge that's headcanon. Whereas with World, we know for a fact the other tracks are down there. I really like the textures they used on the majority of the track too. It feels like a mixture of 8's Rainbow Road and the remade version of N64's. The last piece of visual eye candy I want to point out is the Rainbow Road train, which flies around the track at times, mainly during the final section, once again taking a page out of the remade N64 Rainbow Road with the train that drops coins. Worlds adds way more flair to it though, due to some toads, the Robo DK, a T-Rex, and an elephant riding atop it, all of these guys serving as icons for previous courses like DK Spaceport, Dino Dino Jungle, and Shy Guy Bazaar respectively. Seeing these guys fly by looking at you feels like the game congratulating you for making it this far. Like, you know, good job, Racer, you were able to make it past all of us, now you can bask in the glory that is Rainbow Road. So yeah, 10 out of 10 visuals, no contest. Now for the music, this part I'd say is the most subjective of any of the other categories. Music taste is a very particular thing where, depending on the person, even the slightest changes in a melody, riff, motif, what have you, can completely turn someone off. Fortunately for me, I'm not that hard to please. Absolutely adored the soundtrack. It really felt like it was able to capture the essence of Rainbow Road the same way the previous games did, incorporating previous instruments like the recorder, synths, and a noticeable drum beat, while mixing in some strings and horns at times too to make it feel more orchestraic. There's actually a section on the first lap theme that reminded me a lot of Super Bell Subway's Underground theme. Take a listen. I'm sure it's pure coincidence, but that's where my mind went. Also, during the final lap theme, there was apparently some nods to Mario Bros. Circuit theme, but it was a little bit hard for me to hear it. And to continue on this point, all 4 laps have their own unique theme to them, which no other Rainbow Road has done until now. So no matter how you feel about any of these 4 lap themes, we gotta at least respect the extra work the composers put into this track. They didn't need to make 4 different themes for it, but they did, and that's worth some praise. The themes seem to get a bit more intense as the race goes on, which is a good combination for the last main section of a game. Granted, the lack of an official sped up theme for the final lap is unfortunate. That obviously would have added intensity as well. Even still, I prefer the unique themes per lap overall. Gonna give music a 10 out of 10. For competitive variety, I'll keep it a buck. This area is the one I'm the least knowledgeable on. I don't really do time trials all that much, let alone lab shortcuts for different tracks. If you want to watch content like that, you know, there's Driftopolis and Shortcut. But from what I've experienced personally so far, as well as seeing what close friends and other creators have experienced, there doesn't seem like there's a whole lot of shortcut variety going on in this Rainbow Road, which could stem from the lack of wall riding and rail grinding I mentioned earlier in the video. Maybe this statement will age like milk once this video releases, as sometimes certain text for tracks won't always be discovered immediately. As for right now though, I'm really not seeing too much. Other Rainbow Roads like Wii's and maybe even 8's to a degree may have better race variety for competitive than this one. Funny enough, in the middle of editing this video, I saw a YouTube short by YouTuber Luca Laley taking a cut that saved some time right before the water section. And I imagine even more cuts will be found after my video is uploaded. Competitive gets a 7, but take that with a boulder-sized grain of salt. As for the difficulty, this Rainbow Road didn't feel all that tough. Typically, Rainbow Road is supposed to be one of, if not the hardest track in a Mario Kart game, since it's always the final track you unlock. Double Dashes in particular gave me trouble a lot as a kid because of how narrow the road could get at certain points, combined with guardrails being close to non-existent throughout the track. This Rainbow Road didn't really have guardrails either, yet I wasn't really falling off the map like that. Everything feels wider, which was intentional due to the game's racer per race doubling from 12 to 24, but then again, I haven't really been able to race on this track online against real human beings much at all, just one time, so it'll probably feel harder for a bit the more I race against human beings, forcing me to adapt my gameplay and all that if I don't want to get sold. Far from the hardest track in the game to race on for me personally. Right now, the new Wario Shipyard is my kryptonite. Still struggling to get used to tricking off waves and water sections on a consistent basis. I swear, if you can get to a point where you master that mechanic, it's gonna help you place higher way more consistently. World's Rainbow Road had a bit of that in the crystal section, but it didn't last very long and it was mostly straight away. Another thing that did bug me a little bit is Rainbow Road is the only track in the game that you can't free roam in. I mean, I understand to a degree, like, the way this track is designed with the 4 separate sections, it would be kind of hard to do free roam, but I feel like, you know, when free roam is such a big part of this game, it's a little weird that Rainbow Road can't be a part of it, but I guess it's not that big of a deal, but I figured I'd point it out because I do think that's a little bit strange. So, is World's Rainbow Road the best one in the series so far? Honestly, it's very tempting for me to say it is. Most of my important factors for a great Rainbow Road Mario Kart experience is either a 9 or a 10 out of 10 for this one, with it mostly lacking in competitive variety and difficulty. Depending on the person you ask, the length of the course can be an issue. I've seen some folks in YouTube comment sections say they don't vibe with this Rainbow Road because it's too long, supposedly being the longest to complete in the series so far, taking a little over 5 minutes and 150cc. My personal take is, Mario Kart races already go by insanely fast to begin with, so a race taking 5 minutes is not that big of a deal for me, especially when I find the track in question very fun. I think most of us can agree this one is a big step up from Mario Kart 8's Rainbow Road, especially with visuals and soundtrack. If World isn't my top one right now, then it's at least somewhere in the top 3 along with Wii's and 7's. Let me know what you guys thought of this Rainbow Road though, whether you agree or disagree with any of my points. Be sure to tell me in the comments below, I'd love to know your thoughts. But for now, I will see you guys next time, peace out, take care, bye bye.